G'day, ladies and gentlemen, to your Wednesday evening football first game of the night. Two teams coming off rounds to forget last week meet at Belmore Oval with the Bulldogs hosting the Roosters. I'm your host, Blair Curtin. With me in the commentary box is Liam Ryan. Liam, what do you think the Roosters need to do to get around their 42-point loss from last week?
Yeah, thanks, Blair. It's certainly an interesting question. Entirety of the SRL is asking at the minute, and the Roosters. I think they're just trying to get back to that form they were in round two, where they upset the Penrith Panthers. They've got a win, obviously, and the Bulldogs. I think it's people are forgetting they actually don't have a win, and they lost last week in a big game as well, 42 points to 18. So they're also going to be hugely motivated, and I think this game is huge for the trajectory of these two teams' seasons. So it's certainly going to be an interesting clash.
Couldn't agree with you more. Just the one change for the Roosters this week with Drew Matthews swapping into the number 9 jersey and Hugh Mann going to number 7, while the Bulldogs remain 1 to 17. Liam, you definitely found that an interesting choice in the warm-up.
Yeah, definitely. I think that losing 42 points to 18 and not making a change, it certainly surprised me because usually when you lose by that many points, you see changes. But Ruben Mobbs, he's adamant that this lineup is working and is adamant that that last week was an outlier.
Look, to be fair, I guess my sort of counterpoint to that was that the Bulldogs only went down by 1 point with that lineup the week before. As we get to the back end of this opening set from the Bulldogs, nothing particularly zany. As we see an offload, though, to Berkeley. He's a good hooker, but that's a terrible suburb of Wollongong. And we get to fifth tackle. Heads right to Davis. Davis with the big boot puts it a long way downfield. Fielded in the 10 by Ross Buckley. Steps one, shimmies and pirouettes, pull down on the 30. Liam, any takeaways from that first Bulldog set?
Yeah, Blair, that first set, it was rather conservative there from the Bulldogs. So they're just trying to get through their sets at the first portion of the game. And I don't blame them after a loss like last week. They're just trying to feel out the Roosters. So I think the Roosters are doing a rather similar job here.
Yeah, no, definitely. As my cousin takes the big hit up, moving to the lock position in SRL 2.0. Dishes out to Pepe Lopez, the quick man in the tram tracks, and gets pulled down just over the 40-metre line. So we'll see a punt kick here from the Roosters. Dolan in the pocket, chips down to the corner. Not very deep, though, and fielded well by Seymour. But an excellent chase there from the Roosters brings that down on the 20. Berkeley dishes it off to Davis. Davis decides to hit it up himself. Bit of a continuing trend we've seen in SRL 2.0 as we see a little jink and Remy throws the big fend. Pulled down just shy of the 40 though. Berkeley goes for a dummy half run, breaks the line. Absolutely challenging for the Roosters here. I believe he's been pulled down by Liam Schrodinger. I asked Liam how his cat was going into the game, and we see the knock on though. Craven Gooch comes up with it. And Roosters starting position on the 40. Not what the Bulldogs needed, Liam.
Yeah, absolutely not. The error there was certainly unnecessary from the Dogs. I'll be looking to clean those up because last week the errors were certainly huge for them, and they certainly want to be able to play a disciplined game that's not involving errors.
And no one wants to make errors. 9 of them last week for the Bulldogs, and they gave away a penalty. Roosters, despite the relative scores, as Pepe Lopez makes a break, has to be pulled down by Aaron Beckman, and we get to the end of the set. Comes out left to Dolan. Dolan kicks back across field, though. Chase is in good position, but O'Hare takes it quite comfortably in the end on the chest. Roosters, funnily enough, though, despite their big loss, only made, and that's a big hit on Slugger, but only made the 8 errors and didn't concede a penalty. As Yegor and Schrodinger bring their man down. Gets onto Isaiah Yongi, breaks one, pulled down by Snicko, though. Met well there. And fourth tackle, and they're across the 40. One of the Bulldogs players decides he wants to get out of the way before it gets dished out to Mobs. fifth tackle, and on the halfway. Seems that they'll be going to the open side pocket here to O'Hare. O'Hare puts it back down that right wing of the Roosters to Jackson Chapman. That's his first take of the game. And he breaks the line. And there's a Superman dive. They've got just enough on him for him to be brought down. Very hard to make out these Bulldogs numbers, though, with the black and blue. Not much of a colour contrast there, I should say. As Brev brought down Matthews onto Hugh-Man, and that's been a forward pass, though, from Man to Snicko. Seems they're going error for error there, the Roosters, at the moment.
Yeah, definitely, Blair. As we say a scrum here, but that was a error there, and I thought that Chapman, he was really impressive in that on that kick return. He was certainly like that in round two, and I think he's another key to the Roosters' performance tonight. Because if he gets those kick returns, I think that the Roosters, they'll certainly take pride in that, and they'll certainly back themselves.
Well, if he gets a couple more kick returns like that, probably more importantly, the Roosters will be getting some real field position, something they certainly lacked last week as the ball goes on to Junior Hellyer. Bit of adventurous play early in the set for the Bulldogs, but it seems to have calmed down a little now as it goes from Davis to Beckman. Beckman pirouettes through the line. Beckman offloads onto Kalsakau. Kalsakau brought down just 8 metres out and his fifth tackle. Where do they go? Goes open side to Davis. Davis scrubber. Fielded there well by Schrodinger, though. Palms off one. Schrodinger on the burst. Needs to bring Beckman in to take him down. Much better set from the Bulldogs there, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. As we say, Snicko, bro, take a great run when he is human. But yeah, the Bulldogs, it was a great set, but now defensively, they've really not turned on early in this set. And the Roosters, they're about to be in some great field position here, Blair.
Oh, absolutely. 35 out, only halfway through the set. Matthews puts it on to Dolan. Dolan on the burst. Craven, Gooch on the burst as well. Definitely don't want a Gooch bursting everywhere as it heads onto Lopez. Lopez wrapped up. Surely that offload is forward, but the referee says no. Gets onto the big black man, Shaq. Last tackle, 6 metres out. What do the Roosters do here? They go open side as well. Dolan tries the grubber. It doesn't come off. Is that zero tackle? No, so he did get the boot to it. And Remy plays it on to Kalsakau. Great set there from the Roosters, but you'd have to say that was not the end that they needed.
Yeah, Blair, it was rather poor execution from Dolan. I think it's just something he needs to work on. His short kicking game's really been letting him down to start the competition in SRL 2.0. But yeah, I think he's just lacking the touch on his grubbers, and I think maybe he should just go back to the bombs because they haven't been successful when he's tried those grubbers.
Got to wonder who then the Roosters' short kicking option will be, because when you're that close out, you really do want the grubber. It's really vital because you just see it pull up with tries so many times. As the Bulldogs end the set here, Kalsakau will play the ball 26 metres out. Very deep pass back to O'Hare. O'Hare goes down to Chapman again. What can Chapman do here? Not quite his heroics of his first kick return. Brought down 21 metres out. Matthews onto McCuzzy. McCuzzy onto Schrodinger. Schrodinger making the little half break. Challenging the defence with an excellent outside line. Onto McCuzzy again. McCuzzy wrestles with the Bulldogs' defensive line to be brought down just shy of the inner left tram track as he attacks. Bro, onto Buckley. Buckley makes the break. Buckley forces Beckman to make the tackle. Fourth now. No fullback at home. Roosters can't quite take advantage as it gets dished out to Shaq. Not sure it should have been going to Shaq in that situation. Last tackle, 19 out. Dolan kicks on the 20, takes Lehman's advice and goes to bomb. Brev's come up with it, but Brev's wrapped up. Much better set, you'd have to say, Liam.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a brilliant set. They were making it meters of absolute ease down the middle there, and Dustin Richards takes a good run. But yeah, the likes of Shaq Daddy, Yegor Markazi, they were brilliant in that set and vital to their success. So if they can keep pumping it down for easy meters through their forwards, the Roosters will go a long way in this game.
And that's not going to help the Roosters' cause, though. Held in the tackle. Bulldogs get what should be an easy 20 metres here off the kick for touch. Won't quite get that, though. More like 15. Playing it about 45 metres out. Berkeley puts it onto O'Hare. O'Hare onto Richards. Richards Challenges the line again, but brought down fairly well there by Schrodinger. Berkeley into dummy half, back inside to Beckman, sorry. And brought down second tackle, 28 metres out. O'Hare goes back inside again onto Junior Hellyer. Just seeing if they can pull some extra Roosters defenders into the middle here, I think. As Reece Davis goes outside onto Kausakau. Roosters aren't falling for that trick, though. Fourth tackle, 10 metres out. Berkeley goes for a dart. Berkeley fends off one. Berkeley's wrapped up by two in the tackle. I believe that's Shaq, and I can't quite say who the second person is. The ref is sending it up to the bunker, but I think that's fairly safely no try, Lamb.
Yeah, definitely. It was brilliant work from the Roosters defensively there because I thought Berkeley was in for all money after he made that fend off. And yeah, brilliant work from Shaq Daddy to pull him down there with the help of another Roosters defender.
I think that was Snicko just going off the headgear. Beckman back to O'Hare. O'Hare, a bit of an awkward bomb, but it might look pretty good in the end. But no, Chapman, he's a safe man under that high ball. Definitely a bit of end-to-end in the sets now. Snicko, bro, pirouettes, breaks the line, forces Beckman into the defence. Excellent work there. No fullback at home as Snicko plays the ball 30 metres out. Quick short side play. Smart work there. Chapman does break the line. Just get the Bulldogs defence just gets enough on him though that he can't quite take advantage, and Brev gets put on his backside. Big hit, bringing the Bulldogs defence back into the set, something they desperately needed. Fourth tackle, Shaq brought down, fifth and last, 40 metres out. Onto Man, bit of a janky kick, but it works well. Iongi brought down 25 metres out. Liam, what do you feel you've learnt about these two sides so far?
Yeah, Blair, it's certainly been an interesting clash so far as the Bulldogs. I think that I think they've been good in their outside backs so far. Their forwards, I think they're just losing the field position battle in terms of their forwards. Apart from a couple big shots that we've seen from the Dogs, I think that they're not really able to penetrate through the forwards as much as the Roosters. But this man, Aaron Beckman, I've been really impressed by him. But the Roosters, they look impressive all over the park, and I'm surprised they don't have points yet because they have been very close. As Berkeley, he's been also very impressive from what I've seen.
Yeah, he's taking some great runs out of dummy half. Going to be interested to see whether he gets rewarded for that. Much more dummy half running. SRL 2.0. O'Hare breaks the line easily. Where was the Roosters' defence? Where was Snicko a fullback? As that is just straight under the post from O'Hare. Way too easy.
Yeah, Blair, what a try from Aaron O'Hare. I've been very impressed by his defensive work so far in this game, chasing down a couple of the Roosters outside backs to stop tries. And now he scores one. That's brilliant stuff from the little number 6. The Bulldogs are going to be 6-0 up. And yeah, it's been a bit of a turn in this one because the Roosters, they had some opportunities earlier. Now the Dogs, they lead.
Well, the big change, of course. The 20-minute substitutes. Sigarini and Justice Daly on for the Bulldogs, while it'll be Chris Jones and James Hogan for the Roosters. Interesting piece of trivia for you, Liam. You are not actually allowed to call your child Justice in Australia.
Really, that's actually a fact I did not know, but I guess you learn something new every day, Blair.
Indeed. As Ross Buckley kicks off for the second time this evening. Bulldogs up 6-0. Beckman takes it, decides to run himself. Well met there by McCuzzy. And a second Roosters defender. Hell yeah. Dishes it onto Richards. Ford's linking up. Looking to take advantage of some less experienced Roosters in the middle now. O'Hare dishes on brilliant to Beckman, though. Goes out the back to Davis. Davis. Straight in the middle of the tram tracks. 45 metres out from his own line. Hell yeah. Dishes on to Kausakau. Kausakau wrestling with that Roosters 4-pack again. Good set so far after points. Goes to short side. Davis onto Beckman. Beckman onto Seymour. Seymour, well read by the Roosters defence though. And they'll be kicking the ball from the right-hand side. 40 or more than 50 metres out. They go very deep there to Hell yeah. Hell yeah puts on an excellent boot though. Buckley's forced back in the goal for a moment. Breaks out though. Breaks the line into the second line of defence. And makes it the 25 before being brought down. Gets onto Lopez. Lopez breaks the line. That was a little too easy as well. Lopez is away. He's been ankle tapped. He's got Beckman in front of him, and Beckman wrestles him down. Great defensive performance from Beckman so far, but how long can he keep that up? As Snicko Bro goes on to Chapman. Chapman wrapped up on his right wing there, 28 metres out from the Bulldogs line, halfway through the set now. Dishes onto Brev. Brev's a big man. Wrestles it to the 25. Good settler there. Let's see what the Roosters can do in these last two tackles. They go the short side. Adventurous play onto Brev. Brev throws a step. Brev dives. Brev scores in the corner. Bulldogs 6, Roosters 4. Liam.
Yeah, wow, that's a brilliant short side raid from the Roosters. The centre, Jimbo Brev, that's a brilliant try there from him. He does some brilliant work, stepping the Bulldogs centre, I believe, out on that right-hand edge. And the Roosters, we spoke about their outside backs. They've been impressive so far, and they waltz them up the field. And Pepe Lopez, what a run to kick off that set. Without the fullback at home, you almost I thought he was going to score a try for a second, but yeah, certainly set that one up. And the Roosters, they missed the conversion, so it'll be 6-4 with 14 to go to the halftime break.
Yeah, and you got to say that teams have typically been punished for missing their shots at goal. Turning 4 into 6 is basically mandatory at this point, so we'll see if they regret that later. And honestly, I thought the Roosters had made a mistake with the short side play. I thought that, they needed to go centre and get into a position for a good attacking kick, but they absolutely proved me wrong as Dolan fields it, gets up out to the 20 before meeting the defence and brought down there for first. Drew Matthews heads on to McCuzzy. McCuzzy, though, well dominated in that tackle. As Matthews has to think for a moment, thinks a little too long because the ball is 0 metres. And Snicko takes a run out of dummy half himself. Not entirely expected there, but also not entirely unknown in SRL 2.0 either. Heads on to Dolan. Dolan's gone for the 40-20. He's got a good angle on it, but I don't think the ball's got the legs as Beckman swoops on it and brought down on his own 40-metre line. Liam, not the most impressive set after points we've seen in the SRL 2.0 so far.
No, definitely not the most impressive, but they got through it. They got to a kick, and I think that's the important part. Not making an error is certainly important, and the Roosters, they made some errors early in this one. I think that they just want to get to their kick is the most important thing, because that's given the Dogs some good field position early on, and that's largely what led to their first point. So I think they just want to limit the errors.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be said for that. As we get fourth tackle, Anderson into the tram tracks, but wrestled well there by the Roosters defence. That looks like Shaq and Pepe. Fifth and last, Berkeley onto Hellier. Hellier taking a couple of kicks for the Bulldogs this evening. Ball dribbles. Does it have enough? Ooh, is that 20 or a dropout? No, it is 20. The ball went dead before it was touched. Bit of a disappointing end to the set there. Liam.
Yeah, definitely, Blair. It wasn't the greatest end. I think Snicko, bro, we were all wondering for a second, was it good work or was it poor work from the fullback? It turned out at the end it was good to let it go, and yeah, the Roosters were rewarded with 7 tackles here.
Yeah, and what does as Sticko breaks the line, heads back in, throws the step, throws the goosey. He's tried to ankle tap him, but they won't get there. He's finally brought down 12 metres out. I was going to say the Bulldogs, I was not very impressed with their kick chase, and that's thrown an intercept to O'Hare. They were getting punished for that lack of chase, but now all that pressure's off as Beckman breaks the line. Snicko's after him, but I believe it's Pepe who actually might have rolled him up there as they gets offloaded to Segarini and a lot more metres after the offload. Not great work there from the Roosters. O'Hare on to Richards. Richards wrestling with the line. Richards gets an offload away as well. Slugger's got it. Slugger pirouettes. Slugger brought down by the big halfback. Hugh Man. O'Hare gets wrapped up, decides to take a bit of a hit up. Thinks he's wearing the 8 jersey, not the 6. As we get to fourth tackle. Moves on to Slugger, back inside to Hellier. Hellier gets into a wrestle with, I believe that's Luke Brev and Yegon McCuzzy. Last tackle goes right. Absolutely terrible kick there. It's actually not a kick at all. It's a knock on and advantage is another 7 tackle set, Liam.
Yeah, absolutely, Blair. It's been end-to-end footy the last two sets here, and they've just both sides they've lacked a bit of class when they got down to the red zone. We obviously saw the Roosters. They got down there with Snicko, but then made a crucial error, which they probably should have scored points there. And the Bulldogs, uh, but last play was not great as the Roosters they're working it down towards the Bulldogs end, but I'm not sure they're going to get an attacking opportunity this set.
Not without a line break, you'd have to say, as it comes on to Pepe Lopez. Fifth tackle, 40 metres out. You'd expect the punt from here. Heads to man in the pocket. Goes long down to the Bulldogs left wing. Isaiah Yongi fields it well, and well met by the Roosters defence there, though. Number 3, Jimbo Brev, the try scorer for the Roosters. O'Hare moves it on to Richards. Richards gets physical with Yegor McCuzzy and Luke Brev, not to be confused with Jimbo. Heads back on outside to Justice Daly. We'll be seeing the starting props come on in just a couple minutes again before halftime. Berkeley stands up, stretches, gets wrestled back to where he came from. Fourth tackle, 30 metres out from their own line. O'Hare does the same thing with much the same results. Last tackle, half has taken themselves out of the play for some reason, goes on to Davis. Davis with the big kick down to the 30, but well fielded by Buckley. Buckley shielded a bit by Pepe, but that doesn't matter. He's made a break. He's broken it. There's no one in front of him. He's going to score. Ross Buckley straight beneath the sticks. Roosters 8, Bulldogs 6. Kick to come. Well, Buckley just pulled a rooster out of his hat there because there was nothing happening in that play.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a massive play from Ross Buckley. Steps past the initial defensive line, and yeah, he got to Beckman, and I thought Beckman was going to make the tackle, but no, he slipped away. And Ross Buckley, that's tremendous work, and he's going to try and convert his own try here, and he certainly does that. Ross Buckley, take a bow, sir, because that's some of the best winger work I've seen in the SRL 2.0 so far.
Well, definitely a bit tricky because everyone knows to upgrade speed first. So if you're a winger, you don't really have quite so many slow forwards to take advantage of as you did in SRL 1.0, as Beckman lines up to take the Bulldogs' first kickoff of the evening, of course. Bulldogs getting first use of the ball in this game. Heads down to Snicko, bro. Snicko runs it himself into the absolute teeth of the Bulldogs' defence to be brought down on his 20. Out to Pepe Lopez, who makes another handy little 10 metres, and on to Craven Gooch. Third tackle on the 40. Matthews dishes it out to Jones. Jones onto Man. Man onto Hogan. Hogan makes the little half break. Fourth tackle, they're on the halfway. Roosters need to do something. They need to get into a position for an attacking kick. Snicko dishes on Chapman. Chapman gets through untouched. Chapman throws a massive offload to Brev. Brev brought down 30 metres out. Much better attacking play, but I just don't think that's quite enough for the attacking kick. Man in the pocket. Goes left for him to Seymour. Seymour well wrapped up, though, and you think this might just be the last set of the half, barring anything horrifying from the Bulldogs, as Davis takes a hit up. Makes it just over the 10. Kalsakau, his shot on his feet. Richards isn't much better. Moves it on to Remy. Remy makes good meters. Remy with the tackle break. Wrestled down to the ground by Drew Matthews. As Berkeley throws it on to Mobs. Mobs, the little halftime play. 10 seconds to play. Fifth tackle. What can happen here? Reece Davis launches it. It's down to the wing of Buckley as the siren sounds. What can Buckley do? He steps one. Buckley's away again. We've seen this movie before. He's broken yet another tackle, but that's it for the first half, ladies and gentlemen. Don't miss a thing. Welcome back to your second half, ladies and gentlemen, as Sydney Roosters travel to southwest Sydney, Belmore Oval, and they lead the home team, the Bulldogs, 10 points to 6. I'm Blair Curtin. With me in the commentary box is Liam Ryan. And Liam, what were your takeaways from the first half?
Yeah, Blair, it was obviously a interesting first half to say the least, and I thought went up in the stats box and went through a bit of the individual contributions. And my word, Ross Buckley, he had a first half, 240 meters in a half alone. He might be on for the 2.0 run meters record, as we see an error from the Roosters. But and yeah, Snicko, bro, he had a probably his best half of SRL footy, I reckon. 138 meters. What did you notice in the first half, play?
Yeah, that whole Roosters back three is absolutely firing as we see the ball dish out to O'Hare. O'Hare onto Hutchison. Very, very brave play there, brought down by Shaq. Whole back three, Chapman as well, making 99 run meters, whereas the only um, Bulldogs back three, as they go the short side raid, is all going to be forgiven. No, not quite. Ayongi's held up as we reach last tackle. O'Hare grubbers. He's pulled up by Blaine. Blaine's going to get out of trouble. He's a long way out of trouble now. He crosses the 40. He's across halfway. He has no one in front of him, but he's been brought down by some determined Bulldogs defence. This has been the story of the Bulldogs, as Snicko makes a little dart out of dummy half as well. This has been the story of the Bulldogs all game. They put some pressure on the Roosters, but they've just failed to capitalise, and the Roosters have always found a way to hit back. As Craven
Yeah,
Gooch.
absolutely.
Yeah, no,
Dane
go ahead,
Blaine,
Len.
that was a great run from him, wasn't it?
It absolutely was. A couple of interesting halftime switches, of course. Two wingers moving to hooker and half. Dane Blaine is playing at dummy half for the second half. And Trey Askew moves into the 6 jersey. Oh, sorry, the 7 jersey, metaphorically speaking. As Dolan puts it up. That's caught by Pepe Lopez. He's over the line, but I don't think he's got it down. Referee agrees and says hand over. As Davis takes the first hit up. Comes to blows with Shaq. And Dane Blaine. Offside markers. Berkeley takes advantage. Pinches another handy little 10 metres up in the right-hand tracks for the Bulldogs. As Hutchison breaks the line. Hutchison beats one. Beats the second, but can't beat Dane Blaine, the third man in. Play the ball halfway through the set, 42 metres out. Davis dishes it out. O'Hare meeting with his halves partner as Beckman takes it, though, and he's absolutely floored by Yegor McCuzzy. Hell yeah. Takes a settler, fifth tackle, 52 metres out from his own line. Goes deep into the pocket for O'Hare. O'Hare going down the right-hand wing of Jackson Chapman. Chapman breaks the line. Very good run meters from the Roosters winger again. This back three has been dangerous for the Roosters all game. Askew in the 7 position in the 16 jersey. Takes the hit up and gets there down 43 metres out. Blaine dishes out to Schrodinger. Schrodinger takes the hit up. Wrestles his way over halfway. And it's 6 again, too slow. Not the full penalty though, as Jimbo Brev takes the first run. I believe he's been moved into a second row position. Takes the first run of the Roosters' new set. Shaq lays it off to Gooch. Gooch brought down 28 metres out. Blaine goes for a dummy half run. Blaine with the speed. Throws a pass, and it's an absolute shocker, Liam. What was the man thinking? He was away for all money.
Oh, that's a blunder there from Dane Blaine. He had got past Beckman and he decided to pass it, and it falcons off Beckman's head into a Bulldogs player, and they pick it up, and yet again they get away with murder, the Dogs. Oh, the Roosters, they just keep throwing it away, and they should be up by more points, but they keep making errors. It's the story of the game.
Yeah, both captains will be looking at the video replay this week as Slugger makes a little half break. Brought down well on the halfway, though. And fifth tackle kick from the Bulldogs. Davis puts it down the throat of Chapman again. Perhaps they're feeling that Chapman might be the easier winger to take advantage of after Ross Buckley's huge 100-metre individual try in that first half as Brev lays it off to Askew. Askew makes some handy more metres. Pull down 39 metres out. Blaine goes for a run. Defence isn't napping this time, though. They are with Chapman, but Chapman makes it over the halfway, 45 metres out, halfway through the set. Brev lays it onto Blaine. Blaine is absolutely ironed out there. I think that might just be Junior Hellyer who has put Blaine into next week. And Snicko has folded as well. Last tackle. Big hits all set from the Bulldogs as Dolan puts it down the throat of Seymour. Liam, what did the Roosters need to do to take advantage of the field position advantage they've held in this first half? Second half, sorry.
I think they need to go back to what was working in the first half. They've forgotten to establish it with their forwards, I think, and are just going too much to their outside backs. Maybe just give some ball to their key forwards, Jaeger, Markazi, uh, and Schrodinger. I think that they need to get some early ball and just establish that because I think they've just forgotten to come out and give it to their forwards like they started this game.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a decent point there, Liam. As hell yeah, he's getting up and physical with the Roosters' defence, but he's turned over by 3 men and it'll go back to the 10 for fifth tackle. Bomb or grubber, Liam?
Well, I think that they need to go to the grubber here because the grubber's the most penetrative, and every half should have this in their kick box. We saw Dolan earlier didn't really nail it, but the Dogs, I think they should be able to nail a grubber here. Try and get Beckman some good balls. No, they're going the opposite of what I said.
Yep, well taken there by Anderson, but it's a handover 10 metres out. Just, do you reckon the Bulldogs might be lacking a little bit of confidence here, Liam? You know, they've been under the pump a little bit through this game, and I mean, launching at 15 metres back so your half can take a bomb. It's Buckley makes a break. I mean, it just screams timber plays. He rolled into touch. Not quite. Touchy says play on. Heads out to Gooch. Gooch breaks the line. He's got Beckman beside him. He beats Beckman, but the goose step slows him down enough that the Roosters, or that the Bulldogs defender, I should say, brings him down. Schrodinger onto Bro. Bro wrestling with the defence. Only one marker in. Blaine dishes off to Schrodinger. Schrodinger onto Pepe Lopez. Lopez, despite his jersey number, is actually playing centre in this second half. And we reach the end of another set. Dolan goes the bomb as well. It's very high. It's in the in goal. And Revs caught it and put it down. That was just a little too easy. Out jumping. I believe that would have been a Yongi there on that wing. Yes, it is. And Luke Brev has just put that down so easily. Liam, you reckon this one might be getting away from the Bulldogs now?
Yeah, I think the floodgates might be starting to open for the Roosters here. I think that they've gotten some very easy meters in that set previously, and when we say they don't make an error, they seem to be able to march their way down into this red zone of the Dogs. And I think if they can continue that, they are going to absolutely open these floodgates and really take advantage of maybe some tired Bulldogs defenders.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, Liam. Was it you or Justin who put Roosters 19 plus?
Yeah, I had Roosters 1-8 in this one, so
Okay.
I'm hoping for my tips that the Bulldogs can reel this in a bit, but not looking likely at the moment, as I said.
No, and Dolan just makes those 8 meters a little too easily as well off the kick return. Blaine lays it out to Gooch. Gooch onto Buckley. Buckley really the man of the hour this evening. Um, as Blaine gets it onto Dolan. Dolan with the big pass finds his pass partner Askew, but Askew only really has time to hit it up a little bit. Probably staying a little bit too shallow, but that's a bit of a consistent thing we've noticed in the SRL as Schrodinger gets brought down 40 metres from the try line he wants to score at. Gets onto Shaq. Shaq wrestling with the defence again. It's fifth tackle. Are we going to see it? No, we're not. Goes left to Dolan. Dolan puts it down to the wing of Seymour. Seymour, he's broken the line early though. Fast the first line of defence. He's very close to the touchline. He stays in the field of... Oh, that's a bit of a harsh call on the Bulldogs there, Liam. Surely that tackle was complete.
Yeah, it might have been complete actually. I don't know if I agree with that one from the ref, but yeah, uh, the ref deemed it wasn't complete, and his wrist went onto the sideline there. And yeah, the Roosters they get a bit of luck going their way, and now they're in some great field position to open this set.
Yeah, I mean, do the Roosters go back to back here? You know, 22-6. You'd really have to say the Bulldogs haven't looked like scoring all that much. They'd find it really, really hard to come back from as Buckley gets brought down 12 metres out. And Blaine takes a cheeky little data, dummy half, gets the offload away to Dolan. Dolan can't quite capitalise, brought down just 2 metres out. It's Lopez into dummy half. Blaine's hit off the ball. We know that one's allowed in SRL, and Beckman comes up with it. Liam, the great escape.
Yeah, that's maybe a bit of poetic justice there for the doggies. They made an error that maybe wasn't deserved down that wing. The tackle might not have was complete in our eyes, but yeah, the dogs they forced an error there, and now they're working out their own end. And Junior Hellier working it forward.
Yeah, hell yeah, he seemed to be one of the better Bulldogs forwards in that first half, but he'll be coming off in just 5 minutes. As we see the early kick for the 40-20 from O'Hare. O'Hare, I think he's got it. Yes, it is a 40-20. Is this the spark the Bulldogs need? Full set, 10 metres out. O'Hare takes a hit up, gets up in the face of the Roosters defence and says, I'm here, boys. Berkeley thinks about it before touching it. Ball comes off to Richards, though. Richards, he's fighting well. He is turned on his back. I'm not sure if that was quite the play there, Liam.
No, I don't know about that one, but I guess it's early in the set for the doggies, so they've got a fair few tackles. But I think that they've got to look to their main man, Aaron Beckman, or even Junior Hellier. I think that they've just got to look to one of them to try and get them some easy points down in their red zone.
Yeah, no, definitely agree with you there. As Beckman is absolutely ironed out by a flying Drew Matthews, who's come back on as a prop. Mobs gets aggressive with Mans back on as a prop as well, and Blaine in that tackle. Berkeley, you almost feel he could have reached out and got over. Bulldogs really going nowhere in this set as Kow's brought down. Comes off to O'Hare, links up with Mobs. Mobs and Man come together. Gets rolled over in a 3-man tackle. Bulldogs need to come up with something special here. Davis, he throws the ball to O'Hare, linking with his halves partner, but that was not the play as O'Hare's wrapped up. Liam, Bulldogs' best chance of the second half. Gone begging.
Yeah, absolutely. They tried to get a little bit cute with that one. I think that Reece Davis, he should have just bloody kicked it on the boot and tried to put a grabber in because O'Hare, once he got the ball, he had no time. He was pretty much met immediately. It was very tough when his halves partner, Reece Davis. So, yeah, I think that he should have just put a grabber or even bomb it in because, yeah, definitely gone begging that one.
As Brev breaks the line, I think Davis's real error, he was just 2 metres too far forward, and he realised he wasn't going to get that kick off. So he just sort of threw a bit of a Hail Mary pass as we reach 5th tackle now for the Roosters. Blaine dishes off to Dolan. Dolan, big kick, goes centre field this time, but it's still Seymour wrapping it up. Seymour pirouettes through the line, makes it to the 20. Brought down by Man. Berkeley from dummy half onto Kauskal, onto Remy. Remy centre field. Hits it up into the teeth. Blaine and Schrodinger. Berkeley takes advantage of some offside markers. Gets up with Man, gets over the 10 and brought down by Man and Schrodinger. Schrodinger's a little confused as to where he needs to stand. Beckman a little confused as to how to play dummy half as Anderson makes the step. Makes very good metres here. 4th tackle now. 39 metres out. Berkeley's in to receive to play the ball. Comes on centre field to Remy again. Remy offloads it though. Very well there for Berkeley. Berkeley finds a retreating Roosters defence. Pinches. Oh, geez, you'd have to call that almost 20 metres. Last tackle now. Beckman dishes it on for Mobs. Mobs tries the grubber and doesn't do it very well. I think the captain needs to take his own kicking licence away, Liam.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't the greatest of kicks from the captain, Ruben Mobbs, if it even was classified as a kick. Yeah, I think he should just hand it off to one of his halves partners and let them do the work.
Perhaps Mobs was teaching Davis a lesson about positional play, but wasn't taught very well as it comes on to Man. Man getting physical with the Bulldogs' defence. I believe that's Kauskal there at marker. And Blaine launches Kauskal into next week with the fend. before being wrapped up 41 metres out from the line. Snicko Bro in a dummy half. Comes out to Askew. Askew gets expansive onto Drew Matthews, who is a prop at the moment. 5th tackle. Comes back to Askew. Askew with the big kick down to Iongi. Iongi feels it well. Gets some speed up. But, and breaks 1 tackle. Breaks the 2nd, but can't break the 3rd. As Snicko Bro runs back to his fullback position. Remy making good meters just by the left-hand tram tracks. Berkeley sent to field, onto Mobs for another hit up. Mobs, you'd have to say, was fairly quiet in the first half, but we've seen a couple more touches from him now. As Berkeley splits the markers, offloads it with a very flat pass, and Calcical throws a fend as well to make it almost to the 30. 4th tackle, a good play here, would put the Bulldogs in an excellent kicking position as Beckman finds his winger, Logan Seymour. And Seymour brought down 28 metres out. Probably not quite the 4th tackle play they were after. As Berkeley dishes onto Mobs. Mobs presumably back on at lock, given all the kicking he's doing. And Chapman's away. Chapman flirts with the touchline as he's brought down by Beckman, but quite safely inside the field of play. And Blaine onto Bro. Snicko making good meters and heading centre field. They go the short side again, though. It's Luke Brev, who is the right-hand centre now for the Roosters. Almost on the halfway. Askew onto the other Brev. Jimbo makes it across the 40 and almost to the 30 before being brought down 4th tackle. Blaine thinks about it for a while. Bit slow there in dummy half onto Craven Gooch. Gooch wrapped up 5th tackle. Goes open side, Dolan. It's a grubber from a long way out, but it's found Snicko, so it might work out. No, not quite, Liam. That was a brave play, you have to say.
Yeah, definitely. It was certainly an interesting play there through to Snicko, bro. As the Bulldogs, they get 6 again here, and now they got a 7 tackle set off a Roosters error. That was a bit unlucky there for the Roosters because I'm not sure they were playing at that one, but the ref seems to think so.
I mean, that's your standard interfere with the pass play. Went forward, and as Berkeley makes a little dart out of dummy half. If the Bulldogs do anything here, it has to be now, though. 8 minutes on the clock. Beckman takes dummy half run, makes the meters, consistently making meters with dummy half runs both sides this evening, as Berkeley back-to-back scoots. Doesn't work out quite so well. How did the Bulldogs get enough points to stay in this game in the next 3 minutes, Lamb?
Look, I think that they just did as we say, Chapman take a run. Oh, certainly not doing that. As Jackson Chapman, he's away now. He beat Beckman. We see a Superman dive from Aaron Beckman, the Bulldogs vice captain, and Jackson Chapman with some brilliant work on the right-hand wing. They kicked down to Ross Buckley in the first half, and that wasn't too successful. And late in this second half, Jackson Chapman's given them a field day. He is absolutely teaching them a lesson on what to not do on your kick chase.
Well, you'd have to say this is game over, right? Bulldogs cannot now win it from here. 3 tries in, let's call it 7 minutes. That's probably not doable, as Buckley take up one of the easier shots of his career and successfully puts it over the bar. Roosters 22, Bulldogs 6. What did the Bulldogs need to take away from this game going into next week? They're 0-4 now, Liam.
I think there's certainly some positives in there in this week. They've certainly fought hard for majority of the game. I think that they just need to take that their forwards were pretty good for majority of this one. I think they've fought hard. Uh, Maybe just like in terms of discipline, they need to be a bit stronger in that area because they've just made too many errors, and they have had their chances in this one, just haven't really taken them to fruition. The Roosters have had more chances, but the Bulldogs, they just got to capitalise because all these SRL sides are fairly talented and they will take their chances. And if the Bulldogs aren't, they're going to certainly be losing more than they're winning.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong there, Liam, as we see some very flat balls flying around. And it's an interesting point you make there about chances taken, because even in this half, we've seen Bulldogs in excellent position as we see Beckman start the Bulldogs very, very well for yet another set. But the Bulldogs just have not managed to turn that into points. Is it time for a shake-up in the spine?
Look, I think it's certainly a question to be raised because next week they also have a huge clash to determine their season. They play the Tigers, and before this round, I believe they were winless too. So we'll certainly have to wait and see how the ladder shakes out before next week. But yeah, that's another huge clash for their season because if they don't win that in their own five, uh, you might have to write them off for finals, to be honest.
It would be very hard to come back from 0-5. It's hard enough to come back from 0-4. As Buckley comes up with it, he has been one of the Roosters' shining lights this evening. Fairly good kicker, 3 from 4. He's, and the one he missed was from a very long way out as Blaine takes advantage of some offside markers, makes it almost to the halfway. Blaine, Dolan, he goes for the second scoot. And we reach fourth tackle. And we're going to see back-to-back-to-back dummy half runs. And it does not go very well for the Roosters, which is what we typically see. Dolan in the pocket there. Swings right to Askew, though. Askew reefs it down the wing to Iongi. Iongi makes some meters. Iongi makes a break. He's very close to the touchline, but he stayed in the field of play. And another good start to the set from the Bulldogs. Their back three haven't been particularly bad tonight. It's just been in finishing those sets, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. I think their spine might be the area the Bulldogs need to look at making changes, to be honest, because they just haven't been clinical when they've got down to the red zone, and their last tackle options haven't been great. But yeah, their back three, they've been all right, but I think that they've just been overshadowed by how good this Roosters back three's been tonight. Jackson Chapman, Ross Buckley, and Snicko, bro, take a bow because they have been tremendous.
As the final seconds of the game count down, last tackle, last play of the game. Here comes to Ross Buckley again. What can he do? He breaks one, but absolutely slammed there in a tackle. I think that's Reece Davis. He says that's enough. The boys shake hands, and it's on to next week, Liam. What's your takeaway so far?
Yeah, Blair, it was certainly a close game for majority of it, but the Roosters, the floodgates opened in about the 50th minute or so, and the Roosters, they were just able to take it away from the Dogs. And yeah, the outside backs, they were awesome in this one. And the Dogs, they were just not clinical, as we spoke about. They had their chances, but weren't able to take them. And they go down 6 points to 22.
Yeah, and look at those extra run meters. Almost 400 extra meters run by the Roosters, even though the Roosters had to make more tackles, even though the Roosters had a much lower completion rate and many more errors. If the Roosters played clinically, you got to wonder what this scoreline would have ended up as.
Yeah, definitely. Those seven errors are certainly. It does make you wonder if they if they only made about three. It could have been well over 40 points, I reckon. But yeah, the possession was even, and obviously the completions were Roosters' detriment as the Dogs went 22 or 25, which honestly isn't too bad. Tackles were about even as well. Uh, the missed tackles as well, five more for the Roosters. So and 10 more line breaks. That's certainly something to note there. And as we might move to some individual stats now.
Absolutely, Liam. Let's start. All right. So with the Bulldogs, the home side, Iongi had a bit of a quiet one, you'd have to say, but he did make some all right meters. Dustin Richards, 121 meters. Quiet performance by his standards, but certainly not too bad. Hell yeah seemed to have a bigger impact than he actually did, and maybe that's from the kicking. Logan Seymour, another very quiet winger there, only 77 meters. Let's head down a little bit further to Beckman, who had the quietest of second halves, a mere 36 metres run in that second half compared to the halftime stats. Only had to make 12 tackles as well. Alan Berkeley, 27 tackles, none missed. You've always got to respect that, along with 150 metres that he mostly made out of dummy half. Aaron O'Hare, 133 and 17 tackles. Good work from the number 6. Zachariah Segarini had a very quiet game, you'd have to say. Uh, at this point, we might head on to the Roosters. Justin Dolan seemed to be everywhere, kicking the ball, made some good runs. Liam, aside from Ross Buckley, were there any other standouts? I mean, Ross Buckley has to be man of the match, surely.
You'd think so, but Jackson Chapman, 266 meters as well. He was certainly electric and scored the try as well. So he wouldn't be too far off Ross Buckley, but I think Ross Buckley definitely set up this one in the first half. And Snicko, bro, I thought he was tremendous as well, as we talked about their back three, 188 meters, 11 tackles. He did miss three, but the 4 line breaks, arguably Snicko's best game that I can think of in 2.0. Jimbo Brev, I thought he was really solid as well in that second half. He had 114 meters with 16 tackles. Oh, and Liam Schrodinger, what tackle efficiency that is. 34 made, 1 missed. That's brilliant work from him out in the middle. 93 meters made. And Pepe Lopez as well. He was pretty good out in that back row in the first half. 122 meters made. Obviously a bit quieter in that second half, but yeah, certainly a solid effort.
Well, it was really Jackson who took over in that second half, but that's all we've got time for this evening. Thanks very much for joining us this Wednesday evening, and last game of the round's up next. Have a good one.